I met a gypsy.
Just talking Motocross of Nations, it's for me, Aussie probably has under-delivered for a long, long time in terms of, you've had, Reedy and Burner and McFarlane and a bunch of crew. I don't know, there's heaps of names. I'm not too good, Johnny, on the spot with names, but you've had the ability to perform, and I think you've only been on the podium
once.
Yeah, is that right? Was that France?
Yeah, it was with Mossy. Mossy with JDR bike was on the podium.
Was he? Was it Reedy, Mossy, and
Burner maybe, or Metcalf? Was it
Metcalf? Suzuki, right? Yeah, and that's a pretty average result. Considering what you've had as a country and over a number of years now, but this year has the ability, if you win the Motocross of Nations, you're going to be like Australia is, that is all time biggest race of the year. I think obviously the fact that Jett and Hunter, the form they're in, that is what you'd say.
That's the backbone of it.
Yeah, exactly. But then you've got to have that third rider. You cannot race the Motocross of Nations with two awesome riders, let's say stars. The third rider has to back up, and that type of form that Mitch is in right now, that allows you that opportunity to go for the win. Yeah,
man, it's gonna be crazy at Redbud as well. Yeah. And I think the fact that all the boys are gonna be on Hondas, it's like a dialed in program, because I feel like Motocross of Nations is one of those, unless it's in Europe. I think you see it's in Europe. And then you got all the riders, all the teams, their own bikes there. It just logistically becomes easy. I think one of the reasons Australia's always struggled is because it's so disjointed between, I think the team managers always kind of comes from Australia, and then sometimes there's no riders that are in Australia that's even doing it. You got one guy from America, two guys from Europe or whatever. So it's always you got the Aussie front, you got the American front, and then you got the Euro front. And you're trying to line up these three things to come together. And I think that does make a difference, But it seems like now you've got Jett and Hunter, you've got their whole program. Then you've got Dazzy that's going to be super involved. You've got Myrtle that's going to take care of a bunch of shit for those guys. He's also Mitch's manager.
Oh, is it?
So Myrtle manages all three of the guys that's on Team Australia. So you've actually got it feels like a team, you've got a solid foundation, and then it's already there, all their bikes are there. Mitch is going to be able to kind of jump on the program. So it sort of seems like a lot of the factors that maybe when we had the riders to do the job, we just didn't have the infrastructure or the
Stars
team,
didn't align with all of it.
And maybe that's not as important as I'm making it out to be. Maybe I'm kind of looking into it too far, but I don't know.
What's going to be important is who they decide to ride the MX2 bike. That's going to be the most important factor. Is that set?
100%.
Is that set, Griff?
Yeah. Are you sure? Is that public knowledge? I don't know what's real anymore. Yeah,
you got something wrong with your right eye, Griff.
Well, have you seen the footage? Go to Jett Lawrence rides a 450. Have you seen this video?
Yeah, I have.
What did you make of it? Well, he's going pretty slow. I don't think he was. Not that he's going slow. Wrong word to use. I don't think he's sending it, essentially. But why is he riding that 450 if he's going to ride it?
Well, he's riding that because he's racing it next summer. That's
100%.
Whether that's public knowledge or not, that's exactly what's happening, right? So he gets that stupid rule they have in AMA racing. So he gets 1 year to defend his...
fucking look at him go. Full screen it. Put it on so the people can see it. Moto Academy ain't gonna fucking clip this video. Let's just enjoy. This is always this video right here is the pivotal moment. I can remember the first video that came out of James Stewart on a KX 250, and then you see the first footage of Barsha on a 450. You've always the first footage of Villo on a 450. It always feels like kind of a special moment when you get to drop the first footage of a guy riding a 450.
Yeah, for sure. Makes riding look effortless at times, eh?
Yeah.
I say that.
Yeah, he fucks up. Yeah. Hey, so watch this. Well, let's go back to technique for 2 seconds. Sorry to everyone. Watch pretty much before he sits down every time, he's doing a pump with his legs. Have you noticed that?
No, I haven't.
So watch for this. Every time he does it's like a pump, sit. Watch every single time. And that's like a BMX and a mountain bike thing. is like you have that pump. See, pump and then sit.
Yeah.
Can you see it?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I definitely noticed in that turn where it is now,
pump,
the previous
sit.
lap. But that, whether that's come from Dazzy or from Johnny O, I mean, obviously he's had a huge influence in what their structure is in America with the entire program, I guess you'd call it.
So what would you make of that? Like, just watching that, what do you think that's doing? Because that's super obvious.
Bike, just setting it, just making sure you've got it like planted into the line as you go to then transition, right? So when he goes to transition, that's the point of finishing your braking and then settling into your seated position for the corner. It's just making sure it's just nice and settled in that line that he's in.
Yeah.
You're not sort of just leaving it to chance, right? You're just like making sure, bang, like, yeah, right, I've got that bike grounded.
That's the line.
That's the line. I've got it settled. Yes, I can transition now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because that's the one thing that really stood out to me in this video is it's almost like he's overemphasizing it in a sense.
Yeah, but that's how you
make it that muscle memory.
That's right.
Yeah. So to me, when I saw this video, I was like, okay, this is Jett at full cruising pace, trying to do all of his technical things that Dazzy's essentially asking him to do.
One of the things that I reckon that stood out for him, especially because we've been able to see his whole progression from amateurs, he has never ridden like an amateur rider. Have you noticed that?
In what way?
Doesn't rev well, doesn't do these massive scrubs, isn't trying to like over engineer a corner as he goes through it, like just, I'm going to move this boom out of the way. He's never ridden like that. And that's the whole entire program of having someone like Johnny. We were talking about earlier with Ford, right? And this is on a much lesser scale or different world from there. But I said to Ford yesterday, none of your riders ride like amateur riders. Jett has never ridden like that.
Yeah.
And that has helped him progress so much quicker because you're not like doing all this wild
extra
shit.
Yeah.
That just actually you're going slower.
Yeah.
Justin Barsha is a perfect example of that. He would go faster if he didn't ride the way he rides. I cannot believe that he is with that program of having the man involved with it and he hasn't changed some of those habits. He would go faster.
Yeah.
You're a 450 doesn't make peak movement forward at 15,000 RPM. It does not work.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And I just can't believe that he still rides like in that. Anyway, so the point being is when we were watching that with Jett just then, he hasn't ridden like an amateur. If you watch a lot of those amateurs come into PC or Star or whatever team it be, they come in with this wild and it's because their amateur tracks are a lot smoother, heaps of jumps, like I was just watching.
Well, and it's fun.
Absolutely.
I think that's a big part of it as well. Like that's one thing. I'm obviously like the biggest fucking Deegan family fan, but I look at Hayden, and that's my only thing that I could say is just like you're just revving the fuck out of that thing. It's probably too much.
My boys watch a lot of his stuff, and he's actually he's been through some periods when he hasn't done it, and man, he rides the bike so much better. But they'll iron that out real fast. They run a very slick program, man, that whole program.
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.